Screen recording. Selected. Accessibility shortcuts. Control.
Hey, what is up guys? Welcome
Activity
back
digital.
to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our Making Accessible Apps series. Excuse me. And in this particular video, we are going to be taking a look at the accessibility settings available on the Apple Watch. Now I'm using the Watch app to go through these settings because as far as I'm aware, it's not possible to record your screen on the Apple Watch. So let's go ahead and get started. In your Watch app,
General. Button. Display and gestures. Accessibility. Button.
go down to Accessibility.
Vision. Heading.
And inside of Accessibility, the first section we come to is Vision. Now these are settings for people with vision disabilities. So for example, blindness, low vision, color blindness, stuff like that.
Voiceover. Off. Button.
Now the first setting is voiceover. This includes not only the toggle to turn voiceover on and off on your watch, but it also includes things like braille display settings. It includes customizations for your speech, including your voice, the pitch, the rate, the speaking rate, all that kind of stuff. That's where that would be.
Zoom. Off. Button.
Zoom, you can turn on or off the Zoom accessibility feature if you are low vision and you need to be able to zoom in on stuff on your watch because you can't see it.
On/off labels. Switch button.
There's on/off labels, which just when it's turned on, it'll show symbols on your toggle switches that help indicate to you whether or not the switch is on or off.
Reduce transparency. Switch button.
Now, reduce transparency. This is a very important feature to pay attention to. And so what this does, if you haven't watched my previous videos, what this will do is when enabled, it will reduce the transparency of components in your user interface, as well as reduce blurring effects to make text and other user interface components on your screen have a starker contrast between foreground and background colors.
Improve contrast by reducing transparency and blurs on some backgrounds to increase legibility. Increase contrast. Switch button. Off.
Now, increase contrast is another setting that allows you to get greater contrast. This isn't something that you need to this isn't something that you need to listen for in your apps, because the system will automatically adjust the contrast of your display to make your colors stand out and have a better contrast between foreground and background colors.
Increase color contrast between app foreground and background colors. Color filters. Off. Button.
Now, color filters, these are for people who are colorblind and may not be able to see certain colors, so you can apply different color filters to help you be able to use your phone more easily. Be able to differentiate between things on your screen and all that kind of stuff.
Color filters can be used to differentiate colors by users who are colorblind and aid users who have difficulty reading text on the display. Minimum brightness. Switch button. Off.
Now, minimum brightness. This setting will allow you to adjust the minimum amount of brightness when in certain lighting conditions. This can be very helpful if you are low vision and you need a brighter display to be able to see in the sunlight.
Increases the minimum brightness of the display when it automatically adjusts to ambient lighting conditions. Turning it on may affect battery life and long-term display performance. Text size. Heading. 100%. Adjustable.
Now, the next section we come to is text size. So this includes settings for things like dynamic type.
Text. 100%. Adjustable. Swipe up or down with one finger to adjust the value.
All right. So right now the text size is set to 100%. And that's what I have mine set to. You may have it set to something different, but that's what I have it set for, 100%.
Bold text. Switch button. On.
Now, I
Double tap to toggle
also
setting.
have the bold text setting enabled, and what this will do is it will do exactly what it says. It'll make all the text on your screen bold to create more contrast and make things a little bit more legible.
Reduce motion. Off. Button.
Reduce motion. This is another accessibility setting that you're going to want to pay attention to and listen for in your apps if you're using a lot of animations throughout your app. Now, what does reduce motion do? Well, reduce motion, what it does is it tells you whether or not you need to adjust your animations or get rid of them entirely. Now, whether you reduce them, like reduce the intensity, change them to a different, less intrusive animation, or turn them off entirely is completely up to you. There's no standard practice necessarily. The goal with reduce motion is simply to make sure that those who are prone to motion sickness can use your app without issue. That's the main goal.
Limits animation and automatic resizing of the Apple Watch user interface on the home screen and when launching and exiting apps. Chimes. Button.
Now, chimes. What this setting does is it essentially allows you to set a sound on your Apple Watch to go off at a given interval. So if we go into chimes,
Chimes. Switch button. On. Double tap to toggle setting.
I have it turned on, so my Apple Watch will ping with the bells sound on the hour every hour.
Schedule. Hourly. Button.
Now, I have mine, as I said, set to hourly, but if we go
Selected.
into the
Hourly.
schedule picker here,
Schedule. Heading. Selected. Hourly.
you can go hourly.
30 minutes.
Every 30 minutes.
15 minutes.
Every 15
tab
minutes.
Bar. Selected. My watch.
It.
Tab.
So every 15, 30, or an hour.
Chimes. Back button. Chimes. Back button. Accessibility. Back button.
So let's go
Accessibility.
back to accessibility.
Back button. Chimes. Button. Motor. Heading.
Now the next section is for motor.
Quick actions. Off. Button.
We have settings for quick actions.
Assistive touch. Off. Button.
We have settings for assistive touch.
Button click speed. Default. Quick actions. Off. Button.
So if we go into quick
when prompted,
actions,
tap your quick actions. Heading. When prompted, tap your pointer finger and thumb twice quickly to perform the quick action.
It kind of tells you how you can perform a quick action.
On. Selected. When assistive touch is enabled. Off. Heading.
And so you can kind of have control over when those are enabled.
Accessibility. Back button. Accessibility. Back motor. Heading. Quick act. Assistive touch. Off.
If we go
button.
into assistive
Selected.
touch.
Assistive touch. Assistive touch allows you to control your Apple Watch using hand gestures.
Assistive touch allows you, as it says, to control your Apple Watch with hand gestures. So if you can't touch, like if you can't do much with the screen, but you can move your fingers, then assistive touch will help you immensely. Because it is the Apple
Screen
Watch and all of its sensors are able to detect finger movement and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool.
Accessibility. Back button. Accessibility. Back button. Vision. Heading. Improve contrast by reducing. Increase color. Minute. Chimes. Button. Motor.
Right.
Quick actions. Assistive. Button click speed. Default. Button.
Now, if we take a look at button click
speed. Heading. Selected. Default. Slow. Slowest. Adjust the speed required to double or triple click the side button or digital crown.
This, as it says, allows you to adjust the speed at which you need to double or triple click the digital crown or the side button on your Apple Watch to perform certain actions. Because maybe you can't do that really fast click click or click 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 to perform certain things and you need it to be a little bit slower, you can do that.
Screen recording in progress. Click accessibility. Back button. Accessibility. Back quick actions. Off. Assist button click speed. Touch accommodations. Off. Button.
Now there are certain touch accommodations you can take a look at as well.
Auto answer calls. Off. Button.
You can have your Apple Watch automatically answer phone calls, which again is extraordinarily useful.
Wheelchair activity. Heading.
There are settings for being able to enable a wheelchair activity for workouts. So if you are confined to a wheelchair, you can still do Apple Watch workouts.
To enable health and fitness features designed for wheelchair activity, edit the wheelchair preference in the health section of my watch. Walkie-talkie, heading.
Now there's also a section for
Tap to
walkie-talkie.
talk, switch button, off.
So
Double tap to toggle setting.
talk.
When this is turned on, tap once to start talking and tap again to stop talking. App switcher, heading.
There's settings for app switcher.
Auto select focused app. Switch. After 1 second of inactivity, the app switcher can automatically open the focused app. AirPods, button.
There are settings for AirPods.
Siri, button.
Settings for Siri.
Hearing, heading.
And then there's hearing settings.
RTT, off, button.
So you can enable RTT.
Mono audio, switch button, off.
You can enable
Double tap to toggle setting.
audio. So if you are deaf in one ear, but you can still hear out of one, you can play all of your audio from your watch in your AirPods or your hearing aid or whatever hearing device you might have connected to your Apple Watch and hear it through one ear, which is really nice.
Left-right stereo balance, 0%.
Now, left-right stereo balance, this allows you to adjust the audio balance from left and right headphones or hearing aids if you need to hear some kind of audio more in one ear and less in the other because of some hearing imbalance you might have.
Adjust the audio volume balance between left and right channels. Headphone notifications, switch button, on. Double tap to toggle
notifications. What this does is it allows your Apple Watch to notify you when your volume in your headphones is too loud and could cause hearing damage. So that is that's a neat way that the Apple Watch can help you not go deaf.
To protect your hearing, Apple Watch sends a notification if you've been listening to loud headphone audio for long enough to affect your hearing. Hearing devices, heading.
And now there are settings for hearing devices, such as hearing aids.
To protect your hearing, Apple hearing devices, complication, mic volume, button. Setting you would like to see in watch face complications. Show audio transcriptions, switch button, off. Double tap to toggle, show audio transcriptions for announcements from HomePod.
You can show audio transcriptions for responses from your AirPod, or not AirPod, your HomePod, which is useful because if you're using a HomePod, you're not going to be in the same room as it sometimes. And so maybe because you're hard of hearing, you're not going to be able to hear its response. Or if you're deaf, you're also not going to be able to hear its response. So having that transcription helps. Taptic time speed, heading. 33%, adjustable. Live speech, off. Accessibility shortcut, voiceover. Vertical scroll bar, 6 page. And so you can kind of see the other settings that we have here for accessibility shortcuts, live speech, stuff like that. There isn't quite as many accessibility options as there is in, for example, Mac OS or watchOS, well, not watchOS, in something like a iOS or iPad OS, but there is still plenty of accessibility features to help you be able to use your watch, regardless of whether you have a disability or not. Now, that pretty much does it for this part of our series where we go over the different accessibility settings on Apple platforms.
Screen dim.
There isn't going to be a video for Apple TV or Vision OS, simply because I don't own the platforms. And most of the features are the same anyway. They just work slightly differently based on what device you're using. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching. Make sure that you follow me on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it, for updates. And make sure you stay tuned for more videos like this in the future. Flashlight, control, orientation lock, flashlight, control, selected, screen recording.